drum sheets, not tweets, keep teams. Oakland brought a butter knife to a gunfight. Today on Locked On A's.
You are Locked On A's, your daily podcast on the Athletics, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Boonie. One name, all passion, and I've been riding with this squad for 4 decades. And let me tell you, the A's aren't just some scrappy underdog anymore. We are the storm rolling in from Ricky to the Bash Brothers, from the Big Three to the Vegas Blueprint. This franchise has always found a way to flip the script. And right now, these kids are turning MLB upside down, and the rest of the league cannot stand it. Stick around. We're building a desert dynasty, and you do not want to be late to the party. Yesterday, we had Ray, Dr. Death Perez, a Sacramento native, and Raiders lifer who worked in government and seen the stadium game up close. We cover the big 3 chapters: government versus ownership, who bears the burden, who should pay for what, the economics of stadium funding, and the Vegas equation, how tax districts and projections really work. And of course, Fisher's finances and the myth of the broke billionaire, following the money without the fairy tales. Today is part 2, and we're finishing the job with 3 more heavy hitters: Senate Bill 293 Skinner and Oakland's political failure, how a tailor-made tool got fumbled, fans' faith, the fallout, the human cost when a team changes its address more than its approach, and of course, legacy, relocation, and the future of major league loyalty. What's myth? What's policy? And what needs to change? We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. So smash that subscribe button and join the ride. And if you are in Nevada, catch Locked On A's Monday through Friday at 12:30 p.m. on Silver Sports and Entertainment Network, Digital Channel 5.2, and Cable Cox Channel 77. Today's episode is brought to you in part by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you will get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today.
I still have no faith that a John Fisher-led baseball team will result in championships. It just won't result in that.
I've had 2 issues with regard to the public sentiment with regard to the A's. And first, I want to ask you this. I have been criticized loudly for taking the stance I have taken. If you support anything with the A's in Vegas, you love John Fisher. And I have never admonished John Fisher. I've ripped ownership for years. The absentee leadership, the refusal to communicate, the stingy payrolls that turned contention into clearance sales. But here's the catch, man. And this is what I ask you. 2 things can be true at once. Fisher can be a lousy communicator, and Oakland City leadership can be catastrophically incompetent, pretending the city's failures don't exist because you hate the owner, in my opinion, is willful blindness. They had the golden ticket. You talk about legislation. Senate Bill 293 Skinner, a state-sanctioned redevelopment tool written for Howard Terminal. And they blew it. They couldn't coordinate between the city, between the county. And when that got passed in 2019, Ray, they had to contact Alameda County immediately. Mayor Livy Schaff, 2 years, didn't contact Alameda. Only when she contacted Alameda was when Commissioner Manfred called her and said, hey, we got to get on this. She then contacted Alameda County to set up the tax increment financing district. They hired...
What year was this? What year was this?
2000. The Senate Bill 293 Skinner passed in 2019, and immediately they needed to coordinate with Alameda County. They didn't do that until 2021, almost 2 years later. They hired a consulting firm Century Urban, who missed their
wait. Okay, hold on. I got to stop you there.
Sorry.
But Howard Terminal didn't come to fruition until didn't come up as a plan until 2 years ago.
No. Way before.
No, they were in Fremont, wasn't it? Weren't the
Fremont
A's
was before then. Fremont was under Wolf. Fremont was under Lou Wolf. They started talking about Howard Terminal. Howard Terminal started like in 2016.
No, you're right. You know what? I was thinking 2006. I apologize.
Okay. Yeah. Twice they did Howard Terminal. Lou Wolf said you can't be done. Century Urban missed the subsidy as far as their calculation by $2.1 billion. And that's actually a public document that you can actually get online. I will forward you the link on that. And you could take a look at exactly what they calculated. That's why they kept going back and forth as far as money. And who needs to pay for this and who needs to pay for what. But at the bottom line, to your point, once the door was open for Vegas, I think Fisher had one foot out the door. No question about it. He wanted out.
That's what I was going to bring it up. So when here's my thing.
Go ahead.
Here's my thing. Unless you're not done.
No, I'm done.
Okay. And I hope this makes this in the cut. First, I understand that you're bringing up that Senate bill because it's very specific, and I'm not gonna pretend like I know the ins and outs of it. So I'm gonna admittedly speak very generic here. Okay. And it's up to your audience to take it how they
Sure.
see it as being a cop-out. You mentioned just on the surface level that Oakland city officials are inept. And granted, I hate their politics. Open about it. You can search my Twitter account. How do you explain Chicago and Detroit being borderline commies? And right? Inglewood's no different. Inglewood always up to no good. My thing has always been this. If, just in general, okay, if you are solely relying on an elected official who's not going to be in office in the next 8 years or 10 years, or will be in and out, and you can't afford to do what the Niners did in Santa Clara and put in money to sway it your way, because I'm in politics. We have PACs for a reason. We have lobbyists for a reason. The A's used their lobbying power in Las Vegas, did they not?
Yeah.
Did they use it in Sacramento?
I do not believe so. You tell me.
So if they're using their lobbying power that you know of in Las Vegas, but they didn't do jack squat.
They lobbied hard for it in Vegas, no question.
So that's number one, because I work in legislation. We can both agree, we know publicly that they use their lobbying power to get things done in Las Vegas. We can both agree, and I don't know unless, maybe they do, I could be wrong, but it wasn't public. I don't know what type of money or power or influence that the A's leveraged in Sacramento like the Niners did in Santa Clara. That's number one. Number two, Mayor Butts in Inglewood, I'm very curious to see how much money the Rams and Inglewood, Rams, who's a billionaire owner, he is not broke. Boonie, I have to respectfully disagree with your tweet. John Fisher's a broke billionaire. He is. Let me tell you why he's a broke billionaire. If you need $380 million of a public handout, you're a broke billionaire. I'd use another B word, but I want to be respectful.
Right.
Okay. You know, and I'm not to you, but I'm just like in jest. You know what I mean? Like, we're just all in good fun. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Right.
No, I get it.
If you have no influence on Senate bill, what you referenced, and then your cop-out is relying on mayors. Yes, Mayor Shang Tao was indicted. But do you know how much corruption there is in Chicago? They're not losing any team so far. In fact, they're talking about building a new stadium. Detroit, you do have publicly funded stadiums, but I don't see any reports of those publicly funded stadiums bringing an economic boom to that city. And they have, 3-4 pro sports teams in Detroit built in the last 10 years. You would think we have something to say, we need to carbon copy that in Detroit and do that in Vegas and Oakland. No one's saying that. No one is saying, look at the willpower that Las Vegas, including Mark Davis and John Fisher, the power that they are doing in the 58th market in the nation, they can't, or the 58th market, they can't do in the 4th largest market in the world, because you know why? They are major league broke. And that is sad. Even, for you as a fan, like, I think that's cool. I don't know if you have kids or if you have family or friends that you want to take there. You seem like a good dude who you're like, man, this sucks being put in this position. In a way, I feel bad that you were going to a game that you love. I loved. I played wrong baseball. But you have an owner that couldn't even muster it in the biggest city in the world. He can only leverage his strength in Vegas, but not in California. That's a problem.
This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Every day we make decisions, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Playing Prize Picks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player projections, like Josh Allen's passing yards or Saquon Barkley's rushing for a touchdown, and you're in the game. I love how quick it is. You can make your lineup in under a minute. My favorite part, Prize Picks just added stacks. So if I want to ride with a player, I can select their passing yards, rushing yards, and touchdowns all in one lineup. It's also fun to follow other players in the app and copy their lineups with one click. And the new injury reboot feature, if your player leaves early and doesn't return, it won't count against you. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. But I was on board with everybody else, and I was this close to walking away, Ray. I was this close to walking away. And then all of a sudden it hit me. I was like, what am I going to do for those 3 hours of the day that the A's are playing? Am I just not going to watch them, just not to watch them because I hate the owner? And the way the franchise is painted, I can see why people do that. But sports is important. Sports is very, very important. They're important to a lot of people. That goes past the owner and the politics. It's 3 hours where people just need that break from their daily grind to step away and to root for kids on the field. And it means so much more than just the team, if you know what I mean. And
I want to ask you this question as you're painting this picture, right? Totally get it. I feel you. As a matter of fact, I tease some of my Raider fan friends that are still fans on Twitter. I talk trash about the Raiders all the time. Sure. But I have to step in and I have to say, for my Raider fans that just enjoy the X's and the O's, but dislike Mark Davis, and you just want to watch football, cool. Like, I have no ill will towards you. You know what I mean? Totally respectful.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
Some of them that DM me and say, hey, dude, that's hella funny, because I agree with almost everything you're saying, but I like football. I respect that. No ill will. But then here's my question to you as an A's fan, with the position that, because you are put in this position by John Fisher and Lou Wolf to a degree.
Right. Yeah.
When this ballpark gets built and you go, how are you going to feel as a fan when you are most likely going to be surrounded by opposing fan bases that aren't the Yankees, that aren't the Red Sox?
Yeah, that's how it was this year in Sacramento, man. I went to about 10 games this year in Sacramento.
And I live down the street.
Yeah, do you really? I didn't.
I literally live down the street.
And I got to take myself out of how I feel, because how I feel is probably most different than what, because for me, it's 95% about what's going on the field, the players, the strategy, the game, that sort of thing. So for me personally, it's not going to affect me that much more, but I get it. I get the idea that you're going to go to Vegas and the fan base it won't be as strong as, you hope for. And that's what we're thinking. We don't know, right? But we try to make determinations based on history. And as far as what we've seen from the Raiders in their move to Vegas, you're absolutely right. Does a part of me hope that it is like the Vegas Golden Knights, like it was when the UNLV Running Rebels were going nuts under Jerry Tarkanian. Yeah, that part of me is hopeful as well, right? So I do hope. We'll see, to be announced. I don't know. I can't answer that question now because I don't know. Can I answer the question this year with regard to Sacramento? Yeah, I was pissed. And
I live here. I did not want them here. I called up, when before they announced, I have a friend of mine who's connected with the Kings, and he called me and he goes, "Did you know, I think that Fisher is in town?" And I go, "No way." At the time I worked about 2 blocks from Sutter Health. And I go, "I'm going home for the day. Let me go check," because I'm going home for lunch. I went home, I'm passing by, and sure enough, there's 2 black SUVs. And I get back to work, I call up my buddy, and I go, "Let me call the mayor of West Sac and ask her." I called Mayor Guerrero. At the time, Mayor Guerrero said, "What are you talking about?" She called me 45 minutes later and said, "Yeah, the Kings called me and they want me to meet with Fisher."
Wow.
And I told her, "I do not want the A's here." And she goes, "I don't understand." She goes, "Let me call you. I want to tell me exactly how you feel." I gave her the lowdown. I said, "I don't want them here, but here's the thing. That's a train that I can't stop. They're coming here no matter what for the next 3 years. But I can tell you what to expect." And sure enough, do you remember when they were talking about having the turf here in Sacramento and 100-degree weather?
Yeah, I do.
I told the mayor, "John Fisher will not get up in front of that. It's going to have to be you." And she goes, "Really? Give it time, Mayor. Give it time." No joke. That's exactly how it played out. They kept calling her, and she says, "What do I do?" I had to tell her, "Call the Kings. Ask them what they want to say, what you wanted to say." Kings PR department had to tell the mayor, "Just leave it alone. It'll die." Something like that. How does John Fisher, see, if I'm in your shoes, yeah, that's cool. They're coming because you live in Vegas right now, right?
No, I'm in the Bay Area.
You're in the Bay Area.
I'm in
Oh,
San
you
Mateo.
just threw me a curveball.
I'm in San Mateo. Yeah, I'm not in Vegas. No, I'm from here. I'm from here. I can't tell you how many trips I crossed that San Mateo Bridge before they redid it, and traffic was a nightmare. And hopped on that 880 right off Hagenberger. So I can't tell you how many times I've made that trip. I had season tickets to the Warriors, never to the A's, just because baseball, you don't get season tickets. Yeah.
That's 80s game. That's 80 game.
The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you will unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. I've built parlays, tried player props, and even followed the live lines during games. It makes watching football even more exciting when you have got a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Did the A's block the Raiders from leaving?
That's such a crock of crap.
Do you know what block the Raiders? You know what I'm talking about.
That is a load of BS. Okay, and I'll tell you why. I didn't like the 10-year lease. As a matter of fact, I think I'm on video of, my friend. He's my friend, Chris Dobbins. I think he's on the JPA. I remember scolding Chris Dobbins, who's an elected official in Oakland. And I told him, "You voting for this 10-year lease is ridiculous. Just for PR purposes. No matter what's in the fine print, all people are going to read 10 years from now, like you're doing now, people are going to read Oakland chose the A's over the Raiders. Crock of crap. And let me tell you why. Okay. In this 10-year lease, it specifically stated, once the Raiders commit to Oakland, by law, the A's have to leave the Coliseum property, okay? Within months of that, they announced Howard Terminal. In fact, the A's, in my opinion, and some of my friends hold this view, the A's have no business being in a metropolis like that. They have to be closer to downtown because that's where most modern day baseball parks are, in downtown, for the exception of the Rangers. I think they're the only exception. They went to suburbia. Okay. The A's have no business being in East Oakland. But what that required for the A's to leave earlier, it required Mark Davis and the Raiders to submit a plan in writing, not in theory, and say, yes, we have intention. I'm not committing, but we have intention to build here. Here is our plan. That doesn't mean that they had to. That doesn't mean that the Raiders had to build there and that they were hooked to that. It just meant this is our intention. We fully intend on trying to build here. A's, you got to go. That's what that required. The Raiders, all they were talk. For those of you guys that disagree with me, I want you to send me a link publicly and show me the design of a stadium that the Raiders designed themselves, and show me where they wanted to build in Oakland, because that is a farce. Saying that the A's blocked the Raiders is the biggest lie. It is such a lie. The A's, within months, said, yeah, we would like to go to Howard Terminal. Had the Raiders waited and had the Raiders gone to the 2018 season, they would have no excuse, because the A's had already been planning on going to Howard Terminal. That would have freed up the Coliseum property.
Right.
That would have freed up the Coliseum property for the Raiders to not have a standalone stadium. But the issue was the Raiders did not want to share concession revenue with the city of Oakland. Okay? If you want the city of Oakland to hand over 100 acres, and you want them to help you build a stadium like a TIF district, and you don't have the money to do it because you are broke, you have no other option. Well, I take that back. Your other option is to go to the 48th largest market in Las Vegas, where the only thing you're doing is winning WNBA championships.
Right. Got it.
And not to you.
I get it.
It's like, you know who makes fun of me all the time? I go to my barber, and my barber goes, hey, people are walking in and he's cutting my hair. And he goes, you guys want to piss off Ray? And I go, why? He starts talking about the Raiders and the A's. And I go, oh, man. My blood boiled. My blood boiled. It boiled. And you know this.
Yeah.
Because, like, I tell people, the A's and the Raiders, they're not transactional, right?
No.
They're not like a Nissan. They're not like Gillette. They're not, it's our identity. It's our identity. It's our community. It brings a lot of us together.
Sure.
That was stripped away from us for public subsidies in the billions in another state.
Yeah.
In fact, and I know, I work in the legislature. I do think that all 50 states should commit to not taking teams from other states and using public subsidies to do it. I think all 50 states should sign on to it. I really do. I'm a capitalist. I'm a free market guy. I'll take another political issue, right? Because I worked in politics. I worked on campaigns. I'm all about the free market. Free market meaning, in all sense and purposes, it's free. You can do whatever choice that you can make, whatever decision you want. In the free market, you can't impede or you can't direct them, right? That's the free market for the most part. Relating this to term limits, right? Like, that's just a discussion. Should we have term limits? Should we not? I have no specific opinion on it still, but the people who are against are against term limits, meaning you should serve in Congress for however long you want because it's up to the voter. The voter wants it, that's fine. Okay. That's a free market type thinking where they're not, if they're corrupt, but you still want them and they're doing the job, you should be able to vote for them, right? The other part is, well, maybe not term limits, but you can only serve for 8 years and you got to take a break and then come back, right? Here's the thing is in the free market, and that if I'm a believer in that, governors like Kathy Hochul, they should be able to make whatever decision she wants. And if that decision involves giving the Buffalo Bills $850 million of public subsidies, I don't believe in making a law to prevent that. But if you want to do it, then the voters should be able to vote you out. And if the voters don't vote her out, then the voters get what they deserve, good and hard.
Yeah,
Las
right.
Vegas, here's another thing what I don't understand with the Raiders and the A's. Here's my question for people like LV Businessman, who are from Vegas, and he says that this is a great business decision to publicly subsidize. Why not take it to a vote?
So with the Raiders, I don't know why. I know why with the A's. Taxpayers are not paying for it, right? Only those inside the district are paying taxes on it. With the Raiders, I don't know.
What? Okay, but what if the taxes fall short?
Again, there are things where it's like, hey, there are so many layers to protect it, but I'm not going to sit here and say and predict like, can something like 2020 happen again where it does? Anything could happen. Sure. I don't know.
So, and I think, so my proposal is why not take it to a vote? Let's be very specific here. Let's try to get it specific. What if,
and I'm just telling you why the A's thing happened.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, let's say for this TIF district, as you're explaining, that's why it doesn't need to go to a vote, right? But the vote then would be if it falls short, who picks up whatever isn't made up? So for the Raiders, they had to tap into the general fund, right? If they had to tap into the general fund, why not take that to a vote? Ask voters, do you want the general fund to be the emergency fund, or do you want that to fall on the Raiders? Any type of, I know it's not a generic.
I agree.
Anything that comes out, even if it's like the backup, even if it's like, why doesn't it go to a vote? Why?
Right.
Because it won't pass.
Thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen every day. For your second listen, find the all-night Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, until a World Series champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts.